Hey, how you doing? Justin here. Today we are checking out a relatively easy chord melody version of Yesterday by the Beatles, one of Paul McCartney's finest, and I believe it's famous for being the most covered song of all time. Thousands of artists have covered this or done their own versions of this song, and you can too. Most of it is fairly simple in this arrangement, but it does have an F sharp minor bar chord and a B7 bar chord. But they're not like you have to hold the whole thing down ages and strum it. So most kind of advancing beginners, like grade 3-ish on my course, will probably be able to have a bit of a go at it. If you're still struggling with an F chord, you're going to find it very difficult. I'll show you a couple of kind of ways of thinking about cheating it through as well if you're really struggling. But let's get to a close-up, and I'll take it through you nice and slow, one bar at a time. So we're starting here with a kind of a G add 9, I guess. This is the G bass note that we want, and the melody goes... So we're playing the thicker string, the open D, and second finger, second fret on the third string. You're probably going to roll that. Then lift off second finger, play the middle two strings twice. Then the bass note, and then the chord again. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. Now comes the tricky bit, F sharp minor. So this is third and fourth fingers down on the fourth fret of strings 4 and 5, and then the bar is going to go down on the second fret. But you're only going to play the bass note, then the middle two strings, and then the second string. So you're playing this, and then... Now, if you're really struggling with the F sharp minor bar chord, it's worth remembering that you can kind of play the bass note, and then I've kind of lifting off the tip of my finger a bit and thinking of pressing down on the middle part of that finger. Means the bass note doesn't ring out, but it's not a big deal. You could also do this if you're more confident with the thumb over the bass note, middle two strings, and then the second string. I personally think that the F sharp minor here, especially if you're not holding it for very long, is probably achievable for most people if you've, at least not a complete beginner. Then it would be too tricky. Now the next chord, B7. Now this is the hardest part of the whole tune right here. So if you can get through this, the rest of it's going to be pretty plain sailing, I think. So this one we've got third and fourth fingers on the fourth fret on strings 2 and 4. And then the bar goes down to cover all of the second fret. Okay, so 2, nothing on the thicker string, second fret, fourth fret, second fret, fourth fret, second fret. You're going to play the middle 4 strings as a block. Little finger has to move forward 1 fret, which is, again, little people will find that a little bit tricky, but worth practicing, and it is just this little bit. Then you play the thinner string, and then second fret is going to play the third fret on the thinner string. And if you're struggling here, you can just leave out this note as an option. So just play here the second fret, the fourth fret, and the fourth fret. So not even attempting to play that middle string. If you're muting it with the underneath of your first finger, you can pick it. You're still picky it, you just no sound's going to come out. And it's a lot easier then because the bar is just essentially just playing the fifth string and the thinner string. They're the only notes that the first finger is having to play. Okay, so that would be a good cheat option there. Some of you might still struggle with getting that little finger up. If that's a real problem, you can try this. Then play open thinner string by lifting up the bar, then putting it down, and then adding second finger. B7, open thinner string, putting the bar back down at the second fret, and then second finger going down in the third fret. First 2 bars. Or either way, we're ending up on this lovely E minor 9. That's the open thicker string, G and B strings, so third and second strings open, and that second finger's drop down to the second fret. So from the B7, dropping down 1 fret, and then playing the thinner string twice. Then 2nd fret on the 4th string with the thumb, then the thinnest 3 strings are picked together, open D string to a C. C bass note, then the thinnest 3 strings twice of the C chord. Now we've got a little scale rundown on the D. So this is an open D string, the open 4th string, 3rd fret, 1st fret open on the 2nd string to 2nd fret on the 3rd string. C, D. Then again, I'd recommend that you're playing it through all of the way from the start again. Trying to get it all into your memory as you go here. This is a G sus chord. Most holy of chords. 1st finger, 1st fret on the 2nd string, 3rd finger playing the bass note, middle 2 strings and that 1st fret. All together, 1st finger off. Now we're playing 2nd fret here on the thicker string and 2nd fret on the 3rd string to the same strings but open. So we're playing the 3rd string and the thicker string. Then the B string, the 2nd string. Then we're going to put it down on A sus2. And we're going to play 3rd string, thicker string, 4th string with the driving finger there on the 3rd string, thumb, 1st finger. Now thumb and driving finger are going to go together for a C chord. You're just going to play the 5th string and the 3rd string. Then play the open B string, the 2nd string, to a G with the strings 2, 3, 4 and the bass note. You just go from the G sus the rhythm of this is important as well, so 1, 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2 and 3, 4. Let's go right the way through that section so far. Make sure we got the rhythms of it right as well. So starting on the G, 1, 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2 and 3, 4. One more time. Now, when it comes to exactly what fingering you use for the melody, to be honest, I don't think it really matters. If you'd asked me 15 years ago, I would have said that you really should use the 2nd finger here and the 1st finger here. But the longer I'm playing, the more I realize that actually what's most important is that you feel comfortable with what you're playing. Now, I would recommend that you use your thumb for the bass notes of the chord, because the thumb generally sounds a little different. It's got a little bit more weight and a little bit of a fatter sound. So using that for the bottom note of a chord is a really good idea. Whether you, especially when you've got a couple of notes on the same string, if you want to use different fingers or the same finger twice, don't think it really matters. Okay, there are times where it does. Okay, so if you're doing super complicated songs where the arrangement's very precise, you are going to have to give a little bit more thought to exactly what fingering you're going to use where. But a tune like this is pretty slow, there's nothing really complicated, so try and feel what feels best for you and then use that. Now it's time for the B section. Okay, so we're starting off with an F sharp minor 11. Really love this. Second finger, second fret, thicker string. Third and fourth fingers, second fret on the middle two strings. You're going to play the open B string, which is the melody. Why she. Okay, so we play the whole chord, then just the chord without the bass. Now we move it down to a B7. Just need fingers, the second finger on the root note, second fret of the fifth string, first finger, first fret, fourth string, third finger, second fret on the third string, middle four strings only, all of it, then just the chord. Now we've got this lovely part here, E minor, D, C, E minor over B, E minor 9 over B, to the A minor 6. It's really nice the way you get this melody going, the bass going, the melody doing rising up and then joining. It's just wonderful. So E minor, thinnest four strings, second finger, second fret on the fourth string, then to a regular D, which hopefully you're familiar with. Now C with the G on the top. Don't really need second finger down, I always put it down anyway just in case I accidentally hit that string, but if it was really easier for you, you could leave it off. So third fret, open G, first fret, importantly the third fret on the top, because that's the melody. Now what you want to do now is just move all of that down one fret, which is an E minor 9 over B. There's the B bass note, but it's essentially an E minor 9 sound. Then we lift off little finger, then we put down, now I'd recommend using your little finger here, just because you've come off this, just makes sense, it'll be easier to use your first finger there in the first fret of the second string, little finger down to second fret of the thinner string, open A string and open G. Very Beatlesy sound, this one, the minor 6 chord. Then just the chord, little finger off, D, to the first fret, to the G. Now probably it would make more sense to do it like this, like using second and third fingers, so you've got that melody note, or whatever. I just want to go to the D. I'm going to lift it off anyway to get to that melody. Then G. Okay, 1, the E minor, D, C, E minor with a B bass, A minor 6, D, G. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1. That section again. E minor, D, C, slide back, little finger off, little finger back on, D, now G, 2 and 3 and 4, and now this is just filling in, so I'm doing chord, bass, chord, bass, chord, bass, 1, 2 and 3 and 4, and then it's repeating again. F sharp minor 11, just the chords, B7 chords, same little E minor run, E minor, D, C, E minor 9 with a B bass, off, A minor 6, D, but instead of going D, we're going to go D, we're going to play the second fret on the thinner string, G, then we don't have to add it in there, but it sounds nice, I think, to go from the G, that's the open third with the bass note. Just move little finger over to play G on the second string, third fret on the second string, first fret, open, and then you're back to that section again. So let me play the B section one time through nice and slowly with a count. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Now, what I would ideally love from you at this point is for you to make this your own arrangement. Use what I'm doing here as a starting point. It was literally me going, well, here's the chords, here's how to play the melody. Let me put some ideas down of how I might approach playing this as a chord melody and make a starting arrangement. But you really should feel like, hey, I don't really like the way this bit sounds, so I'm going to change that. Or this bit's really tricky. How can I simplify it to make it feel more comfortable under my fingers? Okay, some of you got really long fingers, some of you got really short, some very flexible, some very not. So what do you need to do to make the arrangement comfortable? Because if you're going to perform it, then you want to be comfortable with it. You want to feel like let the music, the feeling of the music come through rather than the panic of trying to get through something that's really tricky. You might find a little bit of it boring. You know, well, this is a little bit boring here. I'd rather do this other fancy bit. You might find that you want to play with the rhythm a little bit more. I'm still playing it fairly straight. If you're playing it on your own, you can definitely be exploring the rhythm. I'm just going to try and make up some stuff as I go along here, but maybe at the beginning, instead of having, you could have, maybe, for the F sharp minor, you got that, obviously you got, that one's a little bit, that little part is a bit trickier to find a simpler version, otherwise I probably would have written it in to be fair. The minor 9, instead of that you could, it's a nice one just to break into some faster arpeggios. You really can experiment with these kind of tunes. I'm trying to see if I take a pick out what happens. Now I'm being silly, but you try anything. Just experiment and see what feels good for you to take an arrangement that's kind of set and see what you can come up with. Use it as a vehicle for your own creativity. If you struggle with that, then learn it as a set arrangement, and that's totally fine too. But I really feel like when I was learning these kind of things, I always felt very constrained by the author. If I found it in a book, it was like, this is what I have to learn, I have to play it that way. But it's really not. It's music, it's creative, it's an art form. So I would really encourage you to see how you might find a way of manipulating it to make it fit for you. I really hope you enjoyed this lesson. Remember, if you're struggling with any of the stuff, if you're not sure about how to do the fingerstyle, the actual technique, or how to do the rolling, or you're struggling with the bar chords, all the lessons for all of that stuff is free over on the website if you're not there already. If you are there already, there'll be links in the description to any of the bits that might be helpful with this lesson. If you're a tab subscriber, remember you click on the button there for the tab so you can see it on the screen there. Very useful as a referencing to have it in front of you while you're learning a tune like this. But do try and get it into your memory as soon as you can. Okay, this learning it bar by bar and trying to memorize each bar and connect it to the bars that you've learned before. Much better idea than being at a party and knowing that you can play this tune but not being able to pull it out because you need the page in front of you. So do try and get arrangements like this into your head as soon as you possibly can. Do go and check out the website. It's part of kind of a grade 3, grade 4 level piece. There's loads of lessons over on the site that cover this material. There's plenty more Beatles lessons over on the website. I'm sure you're going to dig those ones too. Have yourselves a fantastic day, and I'll see you for plenty more very soon. Take care. Bye.